Hello, friends. Welcome. I'm going to show you how to create a new Azure database for PostgreSQL server. And one thing that is interesting about this video is that I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT, like following the recommended steps from ChatGPT. But first of all, what is a PostgreSQL? PostgreSQL. So I'm just going to let me share my screen and I'll just show you that. Okay. So as you can see, right, it is a free open source relational database management system, right, that supports both SQL and JSON querying, right? So it's a relational database management system, right? So now let me just let me pull this down and let me show you creating a new Azure database for PostgreSQL on Azure console using ChatGPT. So these are the steps, right? So these are the steps, right? So first you sign into your Azure account, right? If you don't have an Azure account, you can create one, and you search for Azure Database, PostgreSQL, you create a new PostgreSQL server, and and you select a deployment option. In this case, we are going to be using the flexible server. This is the recommended for most use case, right? And you configure the basics, the subscription, the resource group, the server name. You have to give a server name, just choose one, right? In the region you want to deploy, the administrator login and password, the version, right? If you want to use Postgres 12, 13, 14, 16, whichever, you configure the compute and storage, the networking, and let's just go on Azure console and do this, right? So these are on Azure console, right? So you just come up here and type Azure Postgres, Azure database, sorry, Azure database for PostgreSQL server. So I'm going to choose this one. This Azure database for PostgreSQL server. So I'm going to choose that one. And if you see something here, show something up here, right? That's the notification. It says Azure database for Postgres single server is on the retirement plan, right? And the create experience in Azure portal has been retired. So in this case, most likely we're going to be using the other one that I showed you on ChatGPT. Let me just pull that up again. So if you look at this is number 4, right? So this single server is retired. So we are going to be going for flexible server. So just going to be going for flexible server. So let's just click on create. So once we click on create, observe this is going to change. Like once you begin to put the configuration, it's going to change. So create, right? So you see that it says new Azure database for Postgres SQL flexible server, right? So now let's put all the configuration, your subscription, right? We saw that you have to put in your subscription, you have to choose a resource group. So in this case, I'm just going to choose this one, right? I already created that previously. If you have not created that, just come on, create new. Just click on that, and the server name. So I'm just going to put new. So I'm just going to put new Postgres SQL. Just choose a name, So I'm just going to choose that, the region, the Postgres SQL version, right? The version you choose, I'll just choose 16. the workload type. So in this case, this is just, a testing, right? So I'm just going to put deployment, not for production, right? And then the compute and storage is already recommended. I'm just going to leave that. Availability zone, I'm going to put 1, you can put any one, either 1, 2, 3, and it does not affect anything. And so now let's come to admin user, right? So you can just put, I'm just going to put SQL, right? The username, put SQL, and then the password, I'm going to put capital A, then admin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hyphen. Then this one will also be admin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hyphen. Okay, so let's just go back to ChatGPT and see, how far we've gone. So this is ChatGPT, right? So we've selected the deployment option, which is this, right? We've configured the subscription, the resource group, the server name, the region, the administrator login and password. This is where we are. Oh, we've even the compute and storage, it was suggested for us, So now we need to do the networking, right? So let's get back and do the networking. Okay, so just come down here, you see next networking, and just click on that. So, so now observe that it says add, you see here, it says add current client IP address. So this is my own IP address based on my location, right? So this is my own IP address based on my location and where my local machine is. So I'm just going to select that, right? So this IP address, so this is just saying that I can access this using only my own IP address, right? So it's just, you have to put in the IP address that can access what you're creating, right? So I think that should be it for the networking. Then I'll move on down here, click on security, and I'm going to go with the recommended one, right? Service managed key for the data encryption key, and then tag. I don't want to give any tag. Review and create. So let's see. Okay, I think everything looks good. Just confirm, confirm, create, just down there. So if you look up here, you will see submitting deployment in progress. See deployment in progress. So this is going to take a while. So I'm just quickly going to come to ChatGPT and see, right? You see that configured the networking, the firewall, right? The firewall rule, right? Under networking to allow specific IP address to connect to your database server. So in my own case, I chose mine based on my location, right? And review and create, these are additional settings. They are not necessarily important, right? But depending on your use case, right, you can put some additional setting. So review and create. So that's where we are now. And then wait for deployment. We are waiting for the deployment. So I'm going to come back here. So the deployment is still in progress. I'm going to pause this video, and once the deployment is done, I'll be back to show you. Okay. So as you can see, the deployment is completed, right? Say your deployment is complete. So that's it. That's how to, create a new Azure database for a PostgreSQL server, right? So, and we saw how, I used the ChatGPT, just follow the step. Now, if you look at this, it's a post creation, right? After the server is created, you can manage your PostgreSQL using tools like pgAdmin, right? And all that. So, but the question is, what is pgAdmin, right? So, I'm just gonna pull here. What is pgAdmin? So, pgAdmin is a free open source administration and development platform for PostgreSQL, right? Is a platform for for managing PostgreSQL. It's kind of like if you have a website, right? To be able to access the website and do stuff on the website, you need a browser, a web browser, right? For example, maybe like Google, um, maybe like a Google Chrome, or different, Mozilla and all that. So pgAdmin, it's kind of like the web browser, right? And then Postgres is kind of like your website. Do you understand? So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to connect to the database using pgAdmin. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.